What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 225 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you like this podcast, you know what to do. Just like, subscribe, follow, share the link with your friends, get a few friends to listen to it and chat about it. Spread the word. I'd sure appreciate it. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Slip Sliding Away. Welcome back to episode 225 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Slip Sliding Away. So this episode, and I'm smiling to myself because I like this song by Paul Simon. This episode, we're going to talk about the difference between a slip and a relapse, focusing really on what is a slip and how does it not become a relapse. And just to put another phrase in there that you may have heard, some places make a distinction between a lapse and a relapse. So a slip and a lapse are sort of going to be the same thing. And if I try to define it as we look at this right in the beginning, a slip is brief. So it's an unplanned thing that, the opportunity presents itself. You hadn't planned or even had cravings or anything like that, but you just used or you just fell back into addictive behavior, but you catch yourself and you immediately ask for help because you have immediate regret, like, oh man, why did I do this again? And it doesn't lead to a full relapse if you take those steps. So to summarize, a slip is a brief lapse in judgment. Not that this happened unknowingly, like someone spiked your drink or something like that, but that it's a lapse in your concentration or your focus. And AA, I like what they use. They have the acronym SLIP, and they say sobriety lost its priority. So a slip is where, for some reason, your concentration, your focus, your judgment is out of whack a bit. And you end up acting out, but then instantly regret it. Well, what causes slips? I think it's important to, whenever you have a slip, that you find out why, because that'll help you avoid future slips or the frequency of slips. If you just ignore it and go, I'll get it under control next time, it's going to keep haunting you. So some examples of things that cause guys to slip are memories that bounce back. And, the memories are often filled with guilt or shame or remorse. And the memories can also be memories of good things and that you wish you had back again. And so that fuels the remorse. Sometimes a slip can simply come because the boredom's gone on so long that the opportunity's there and we just fall for it. We lose concentration on our recovery. Sometimes slips happen as a result of an argument with a loved one or an argument at work or whatever it might be, where we feel, not safe. We feel rejected. We feel unworthy. We feel we've disappointed someone or someone's disappointed us. So there's a lot of reasons that can cause the slip, and hopefully I've got you thinking with the ones that I've just gone through. But what if you say, nope, none of those fit mine? And when I slip, often it does end up going to a relapse because I hide it for a weekend or I hide it for a week or two or I hide it till I get caught. If that's the case, I'd say that maybe your cause of the slip could be that you're still in denial about some aspect of your addiction. Or you've been stuffing your emotions too long because maybe you don't trust yourself, or, in your addiction, you've been numbing emotions for so long that now that you're trying to establish recovery, you're just stuffing your emotions because you're scared of them, actually. Or maybe you've got what I call uncanceled reservations, where you're seeking recovery, but you're not good with the thought of, you mean I can never get high again? You mean I can never, get the thrill that I had? And so you keep your reservations, and you often minimize the risky behaviors that are sort of touching the edges but not getting all the way in there. And these end up causing slips where you've been touching the edges so long, you do go. So I hope everybody has a good idea of this slip and how we can get better in tune to it. But I'd also like to talk to loved ones. What if you're the loved one living with someone who's establishing recovery, but they slip every now and then? So how do you react? How do you handle it when they come and say, I just need to be honest, I slipped last night and I need your help. I don't want to be hiding this anymore because I think it could take me out. Well, as we go through reactions, I'm going to look at sort of both extremes in a variety of instances here. We could react as soon as someone tells us that and go, yikes, what's going on? Like, how could you do that? Or we could know we need to stay calm, that the slip is not about us, it's about our loved one, and we need to be there for them. So we need to stay calm and be supportive, not jump right into, oh, this is just another relapse, you're minimizing me, how long has this been going on, and I'm going to give you one last chance. If this ever happens again, then we're done. Or sometimes we get caught up saying, see, the fact that you slipped is proof you haven't changed. You're still the same old guy. And how can I ever trust you again? Well, the other side of that is we can realize mistakes happen. And we all make mistakes. So how can we support someone to go on their journey where the mistakes get less and less? I think the key is, if someone shares with us that they've slipped, to be able to calmly share our feelings about it and listen to their feelings about it. Not start a guilt trip, not try to shame them, not try to beat them up, not try to kick them to the curb and say there's no more chances. To really be focused on support, calm, understanding mistakes happen, sharing your feelings. And a good acronym of something to keep in the back of your mind if those discussions happen is ASK, A-S-K. A is to acknowledge. So in the beginning, acknowledge your understanding that this is a slip. S is for support. You can be supportive by staying calm and thanking them for coming to you and being honest and sharing what happened with you. And the K is for keep in touch. So that the last part of the discussion could be, what do we need to do going forward? How can I be a support for you? I want to be there for you. And maybe we can set up a way to keep in touch, and before the slip happens, in that minute when you feel the temptation rising, that we can get in touch and change the direction. And then I think going on, as the loved one, we can be there to help them through the process, not give up on them. Be able to talk to them about lessons that they've learned, be able to talk to them about how do we get back on track or stay on track, because the slip doesn't change the destination. Recovery is still the destination. Sobriety is still the destination. And realize that maybe it's calling for more regular routine contact or counseling or support groups, and realize that a lapse in connectedness can lead to a lapse or a slip in our addiction. And so therefore I think it's important that maybe you take like a calendar approach and diarize things, set days and times to check in on each other and not let the check-ins only happen when the slip happens. So I think the key is we just need to realize that slips are a normal part of recovery. And they don't really mean that someone is not making progress anymore. It means they're human, and humans make mistakes. And we have to realize that slips can be an opportunity to learn from past experiences and to strengthen our commitment to sobriety. We don't have to be the words to, the song by Paul Simon, Slip Sliding Away. A slip doesn't mean we're sliding away from our destination. And I like in his words where he says, slip sliding away. The nearer your destination, the more you're slip sliding away. I think in recovery, we have to put a different spin on that. The nearer your destination, the less you're slip sliding away. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you're saying, hey, that's me as I listen to this, I've got way too many slips going on and I've been at a loss for controlling the frequency. I've just sort of expected them to come sort of every month, every week, every 2 months, whatever it is. It's time to reach out and get connected. It's time to get on focus of how do we get the frequency of the slips further and further apart to where they're no longer happening and that they're not going to be a lapse that leads to relapse. So I urge you to reach out to your support system. You can message me at the link on this podcast or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com. or go to my website, www.fromatod.org. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.